Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. Downtown Los Angeles, end of January 2013. We're looking at a story that started as a missing persons report, but quickly spiraled into something way, way bigger. An internet obsession, really.
Definitely. We're talking about Elisa Lam. She was just 21, a student, and her disappearance from this, well, kind of faded hotel sparked this huge online firestorm.
Right, and for this deep dive, we're not just recounting the story.
No, not at all. Our goal here is to really dissect why this particular case blew up. What was it about the specific elements, the location, that video, the way she was found that turned a personal tragedy into this like massive viral spectacle?
It really is a story of contrasts from the get-go. You've got Elisa. She's this young Canadian student traveling solo down the California coast.
Yeah, and she was really open online. She had a blog, talked honestly about her life, her struggles with bipolar disorder too, but also, seemed full of hope, ready for adventure.
And then there's the place she ended up staying, the Cecil Hotel.
Ugh. The Cecil. Descriptions painted as, well, imposing maybe. Tall, but definitely seen better days. It had this reputation. Part budget-friendly hostel, part almost urban legend hotspot. You can imagine the neon sign flickering, maybe a few bulbs out.
It sets a scene, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
let's walk through the timeline. Her trip starts pretty normally, actually.
Totally normal first few days. She's exploring LA, doing touristy things, museums, bookstores like the Last Bookstore, grabbing coffee. And the key thing, she called home every single day, like clockwork.
Until she didn't. Day 6, the calls stop.
Just
Silence. And that's when her parents, understandably panicked, reported her missing.
Right. The LAPD gets involved. They search her room, the hotel premises, public areas, nothing. They put up missing person flyers, especially around the Skid Row area near the Cecil. Still nothing. No real leads at all.
It feels like a dead end is approaching. But then, about a week after she was last seen, the police make a move that changes everything.
This is the moment it goes global. They release surveillance footage. They were hoping, someone might recognize her, maybe see something, anything that could help.
And it's that elevator footage. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've been online at all in the past decade, you've probably seen clips or stills. It's profoundly weird.
It's absolutely central to the whole mystery. It's about, 4 minutes long?
Mm-hmm.
But so much strangeness packed in.
Describe what we see. She gets in the elevator.
Right. She steps in alone. First odd thing, she goes to the control panel and presses a whole bunch of buttons, like maybe all of them on one side. Then she waits. But the elevator doors, they just don't close.
Which is weird in itself for an elevator.
Exactly. So then she does this thing where she steps back right into the corner, almost like she's trying to hide, pressing herself against the wall. She peeks out into the hallway, quickly ducks back in. It looks like she's reacting to someone or something outside the elevator.
Yeah, the peeking out part is really striking. And then the hand gestures.
Oh, yeah. That's maybe the most debated part. She steps partly out into the hallway again, and she starts making these really odd, kind of fluid, almost theatrical hand movements. Some people say it looks like she's talking to someone, maybe pleading. Others say it's like she's counting or casting a spell.
Or maybe having some kind of episode. It looks distressed, whatever it is. She eventually steps fully out of the elevator off to the side, and the camera loses her. And then finally the doors close.
And the lack of any context, any sound, just seeing this silent, bizarre behavior.
Yeah.
It immediately split opinions.
Right. Totally. What were the main camps?
Well, on one side, you had people absolutely convinced she was terrified, hiding from a pursuer, someone who might have been just out of the camera's view. Her actions looked like pure fear to them.
Okay, that's one interpretation.
Then the other side, often pointing to her history with bipolar disorder, suggested maybe she was experiencing psychosis. A hallucination, perhaps, or maybe even some thought she was playing some kind of hiding game, like peekaboo, but in a very strange way.
And that ambiguity, that what is going on,
That was
feeling.
the fuel. It opened the door for everything else. Suddenly, it wasn't just a missing person case. Was it ghosts? The Cecil is notorious. Was it a killer playing games? Was it something supernatural? That video instantly created this vacuum that got filled with speculation.
It turned her disappearance into, yeah, like you said, an instant urban horror story online.
Exactly.
Okay, so the video goes viral, theories are flying everywhere, but she's still missing. How does the search actually end? It wasn't because of an internet theory, was it?
No, not at all. It shifts back to something much more mundane, almost grimly practical. About 2 weeks after she vanished, while the online world is still buzzing,
Yeah.
the hotel starts getting complaints from guests. Not about ghosts, but about the water.
The water.
Yeah. Low water pressure mainly, and worse, some guests reported the water coming out of the taps was like blackish, murky, and it had this weird, sweetish, kind of awful
Oh,
taste.
wow. Okay. That's grim.
Grimly practical, like I said. So, based on these very real complaints, a hotel maintenance worker heads up to the roof. The Cecil had these 4 large water tanks up there, supplying water to the rooms below.
Right. Standard hotel infrastructure.
Standard, yeah. He goes to check them out. He climbs up one of the tanks, opens the main hatch or lid on top, and that's when he found her. Elisa Lam's body was inside, floating face up in the water.
Just awful. So the mystery of where she was is solved, but it opens up a whole new set of questions, doesn't it?
A massive set. Now it becomes a forensic puzzle, and a deeply confusing one.
What did the official investigation find? The coroner's report.
Okay, so the report took a few months to come out, but the official cause of death was ruled as accidental drowning. Big contributing factor listed, her bipolar disorder.
Accidental drowning.
Yeah. And the toxicology report confirmed she had her prescribed medications in her system, medication for bipolar disorder and depression. Importantly, there is no alcohol, no illegal drugs like cocaine or heroin, nothing like that. And crucially, no signs of physical trauma, no sexual assault, nothing to suggest foul play on her body itself.
Okay, hold on. Accidental drowning? But she's found inside a locked water tank on the roof of a hotel. How do they explain that part?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's where the accidental ruling just doesn't sit right with so many people. The physical circumstances are problematic.
Explain that. Getting to the roof, for starters.
Right. Access wasn't simple. Sources suggest the main door to the roof was locked, possibly alarmed. Guests weren't supposed to be up there. There might have been access via a fire escape, but even that wasn't exactly straightforward or obvious.
So barrier number 1.
Yeah.
Just getting to the roof.
Yeah.
Probably in the dark, possibly bypassing security.
Exactly. Then you have the tanks themselves. They're big, maybe 10 feet tall. You'd have to climb a ladder fixed to the side to even get to the top.
Okay, another physical challenge.
Then there's the lid. Reports vary slightly, but the consensus is that the lids on these tanks were heavy, like really heavy. Difficult for one person to lift and open, especially someone of Elisa's size.
Difficult to open from the outside.
Right, and almost impossible to imagine closing again from the inside if you fell in or got in somehow. Plus, she was found naked. Her clothes, the same ones she wore in the elevator video, were found floating in the water near her.
So the accidental theory requires us to believe that Elisa, perhaps disoriented due to a bipolar episode, managed to get onto a secured roof, climb a tall tank, lift a very heavy lid by herself, get inside, take off all her clothes, and then somehow end up drowning with the lid possibly closed again. All without anyone seeing or hearing anything and leaving no evidence of anyone else being involved.
You've nailed it. That's the sequence of events implied by accidental drowning in that location.
Yeah.
And it just seems highly improbable. There's this huge disconnect between the official ruling and the physical logistics of how it could have possibly happened.
That disconnect is like rocket fuel for the internet, right?
Absolutely. That gap, that how the heck did this happen feeling is exactly what online communities seize upon. Once those details came out, the location, the state of the body, the heavy lid, coupled with that bizarre video.
It just exploded.
Completely. The internet just went into overdrive. You had armies of web sleuth pouring over every single pixel of that elevator footage, adjusting contrast, zooming in, looking for reflections, shadows, anything that might hint at another person.
Yeah, I remember seeing theories about ghostly hands or feet appearing for a split second.
Oh yeah, all of that. And then others went deep into her online presence, her Tumblr blog specifically, analyzing her poetry, her posts about feeling lonely, her openness about her mental health struggles, looking for hidden meanings, cries for help, clues that maybe she was being stalked or was planning something drastic.
Her entire digital life basically became public property for analysis.
Turned into breadcrumbs for strangers. And this intense focus, this almost obsessive investigation by the public, it wasn't happening in a vacuum. The location played a huge part.
The Cecil Hotel itself.
Exactly. This wasn't just any random budget hotel. The Cecil already had this incredibly dark, storied history woven into the darker side of LA lore.
It wasn't its first brush with darkness.
Not by a long shot. Over the decades, it had been the scene of numerous suicides, several unsolved murders, overdoses, just a catalog of tragic events. It had this reputation as a place where bad things happened.
And didn't it have connections to some really high-profile criminals, too?
Unbelievably, yes. 2 notorious serial killers actually stayed there while they were active. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, reportedly lived there for a period in the mid-80s during his killing spree.
Wow.
And then later in the 90s, an Austrian serial killer named Jack Unterweger also checked into the Cecil, and it's believed he murdered several local sex workers during his stay.
So the hotel itself was already steeped in this narrative of death and danger.
Precisely. It provided this ready-made backdrop of horror. When Elisa Lam's baffling death happened there, it was almost too easy for people to slot it into that existing narrative. The hotel's past amplified the mystery and lent credence to the more sinister, even supernatural theories. It helped elevate it from a confusing tragedy to something that felt like a real-life horror movie plot.
Instead of focusing on the confusing facts, the mental health aspect, the physics of the tank, people could just point to the Cecil's history and say, see, dark things happen here.
Exactly. The sensational narrative, fueled by the hotel's past and that creepy video, completely swamped the more complex, less satisfying reality of a young woman likely struggling with a severe mental health crisis who died in a deeply perplexing but ultimately ruled accidental way.
And in that rush for a sensational story, the human element gets lost, doesn't it?
Tragically so. The focus became the puzzle, the mystery, the theories. Elisa Lam, herself the actual person, got overshadowed. We have to remember, she wasn't just a case file or a YouTube video subject. She was someone's daughter, sister, a friend. She loved books, photography. She was grappling with a serious illness.
And her most vulnerable moments, both her online writings and that final elevator footage, became public entertainment, basically, dissected by strangers.
It's a stark reminder of how easily personal tragedy can be consumed as content. And her digital footprint, her Tumblr, it's still out there, frozen in time.
Yeah, you mentioned that final post. It's haunting, isn't it?
Incredibly so, given what happened. Our sources point out that one of her last posts just reads, "I'm going out, but I don't know where." Knowing her fate, it's just heartbreaking. A chilling, unintentional epitaph.
So let's try and pull this all together. After this deep dive, what's the main takeaway from the Elisa Lam case? What does it tell us about how we process tragedy and information now?
I think it powerfully illustrates how a compelling, dramatic narrative can completely overshadow complex, messy truths. The verifiable facts here: Elisa's documented bipolar disorder, the coroner's official ruling of accidental drowning, the specific, strange circumstances of the location, all of that got buried under the weight of the narrative.
And that narrative was built on.
Built on that incredibly ambiguous, unsettling elevator video and the Cecil Hotel's genuinely disturbing history. Those two elements created a perfect storm for speculation, making the unsolved mystery or supernatural event angle far more compelling to many than the official, albeit confusing, explanation.
The internet essentially crowdsourced a mystery narrative that's stuck, regardless of the official findings.
Pretty much. It shows how collective fascination can latch onto inconsistencies and build them into something much grander, often losing sight of the real person involved. Her personal tragedy became a kind of public puzzle box.
Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to chew on.
Yeah, think about this. We saw how easily Elisa Lam's deeply personal struggles and baffling death were transformed into this enduring spectacle, this unsolved mystery debated by strangers online. How often does our own desire for a neat answer, for that aha moment or a thrilling story, lead us to overlook the actual human being at the center of a headline?
Especially now, when so much personal information, like Elisa's blog, exists indefinitely online, frozen in time, as you said, available for anyone to find and interpret or misinterpret. It's something to consider the next time a strange video or a mysterious story catches fire online.
Definitely something to keep in mind.